Hi, I'm Rod Haney. My daughter Leslie and I are the principals of Haney Hitting System. In pursuit of saving you some time, let me quickly provide you a brief viewer advisory. Our system of training is unconventional. As a matter of fact, our Haney Hitting System for developing young baseball and softball players into great hitters is so different and unique that it qualifies for the protection of a federal copyright. So if you're not truly interested in your young player being the best hitter they can be, spending any more time viewing this video will probably be a waste of your time. And speaking of time, if you're really interested in seeing your child play on their high school baseball or softball team, you have to accept the reality that the time they have to prepare to hit high school pitching is brief and unpredictable. Our DIY program is a compressed version of the Haney Hitting System. It is a program designed to provide parents the opportunity to help their young player prepare to be a good hitter against the challenges of high school pitching. Now, this is not a suggestion our way is a better way. We do not profess there is a right way or a wrong way. We believe there are different methods of training that produce different results. Fortunately, common sense allows a parent to quickly determine if our program for conditioning and training a young baseball or softball player is the program that produces the results that they want for their young player. And that's why we provide lesson number 1 of our DIY program for free, so a parent can make that evaluation before they have to invest a penny. Now, for example, bat manufacturers inform users of their products that in order to produce the best quality hit, the ball's contact on the bat needs to be in the center of the area of the bat known as the sweet spot. So the first thing we do is work on developing the player's motor skill instinct to deliver the sweet spot of their bat to a specific spot with precision. This is the same type of instinct that provides a basketball player the ability to repeatedly sink three-point shots from all over the three-point zone, a golfer to repeatedly sink 20-foot putts from all over the green, a dart shooter to repeatedly hit the bullseye, and a baseball or softball pitcher to repeatedly throw strikes. So if starting your players' training that way doesn't make sense to you, viewing any more of this video, as I said, may be somewhat a waste of your time. For this conditioning and training, we employ the use of what is known as a throw-down home plate and a punching bag, a boxer's punching bag. Now, for our system, because of the many drills that we incorporate, we use a hanging bag, one that's suspended from the ceiling. But for your work at home, for the DIY program, a floor-mounted bag, an inexpensive floor-mounted bag, is adequate enough. We place the throw-down plate so that its front edge is even with the face of the bag, and we have it centered on the bag with the center of the plate. We then have the player position himself at the plate. We give them no instructions on how to do anything other than put yourself at the plate as if you're up to bat in a game. And then we tell the player to warm up on the bag, hit the bag as if it was an incoming pitch ball. When we are satisfied that the player is warmed up, we have the player once again position himself as if they're up to bat, Again, no instructions. We don't tell them what to do with their feet. We don't tell them what to do with their legs. We don't tell them what to do with their hands, their head, their elbows, their knees, or anything. Go up to bat, position yourself as if you're at bat in a game. When we're satisfied that the player is warmed up, we have the player position themselves so what they have the ability to make believe they're in the game, they have the ability to make believe they're launched, and what we want them to do is take the bat and just take it out and lay it against the face of the bag at the highest point in their strike zone. At the highest point in their strike zone. We then take a marker and establish somewhere approximately a 2-inch dot at that point, hopefully directly beneath the center of the sweet spot. We then again have the player make sure that they're in a position they would feel comfortable if they were in a game at bat, and we take their bat and we put a tape around the center of the sweet spot of their bat. They should already understand, in order for them to get the best quality hit, that's where the ball on bat contact should transpire. So we're telling them that this represents the center of the sweet spot of their bat. Then what we want them to do, once again, put themselves up there, make believe the dot is a ball coming in from a pitcher, and we want them to hit that dot as hard as they can, and emphasize that, as hard as they can, with the tape on the bat. And have them, now don't be surprised, disgruntled, if they don't hit the dot immediately. 85% of the players won't hit the dot immediately with the tape. Have them swing at it. No instructions on what to do, how to do it. Just hit the dot with the tape as hard as you can. Now we want the player to execute, and it's important you understand this. If it takes you contacting us for a fuller explanation, do it. We want the player to execute the delivery of the sweet spot of their bat with their existing instinct. We don't want to have to rebuild what they already have in place. We want their execution to be as natural to them as it can be and as familiar to them as it can be, because it's already there, and in most cases they've already been using it. We won't want the player to be uncomfortable. We want them to enjoy what they're doing. And as you will see as you go on, we also want them to immediately sense, feel, and see the improvement of how it will make them a better hitter. Does that make common sense to you? You should now be getting a little bit of a feel for why we use the bag for developing the instinct to deliver the sweet spot of their bat to a specific spot with precision. It gives us a much better ability to identify the precision of the hit. If we were hitting a ball off a tee, if we were soft tossing, if we were pitching of some type, you'd never be able to examine the hit. The best you could see is the results of the hit and really guess on how to improve it. In our hitting system training, we keep reducing the diameter of the circle and the thickness of the tape. And you'd be amazed how effective that is in psychologically preparing that young player to deliver the sweet spot area of their bat. The other advantage to using the bag is when they're hitting it and you feel comfortable that they're getting confident and they're physically prepared to do what you're asking them to do, then what you have the ability to do when they're hitting the bag is tell them to hit it harder. And when you hit a bag harder, the sound, the volume of the sound gets louder. So not only can they feel like a boxer, the power being transferred, they hear the power being increased. Extremely important. In the event that you have to research what I'm telling you, please do it. If it's not making sense to you, please research it. But what we're attempting to do is show you how to train your young baseball or softball player to be prepared with this DIY program to hit high school pitching effectively, so they make the team. So one of the things we're going to encourage you to do is eliminate instructing the player to hit the dot with the tape. Instruct the player when you're telling them to hit the dot, tell them to hit it with the center of the sweet spot. It's a great psychological benefit for a player as they are in the on-deck circle, or they are walking up to the batter's box, or while they're in the batter's box. For them to be entertaining the thought, hit the ball with the center of the sweet spot, as opposed to keep your elbow up high, don't stride too far, swing level, etc., etc., etc. What we're looking for is confidence in that player when they're up at bat. And when they have confidence, we can take the center of that sweet spot and put it where they want it. That's where it begins. All the improvement upon that in terms of the quality of the hit will come in the training. The next thing we do is tell the player that what we're going to do is position ourselves behind the bag. We're going to go behind the bag and pull it toward us. As we do, we're going to be cadence counting backwards. 10, 9, 8, 7, etc. During this time, we want the player to get ready to launch, as it's commonly identified, to hit the ball. In this case, the dot. No instructions on how to do that launching. Just get ready to hit the dot. I'm going to leave the bag, flow forward over the plate. You want the player to hit that dot when it's over the plate. Not before, not after, anywhere over the plate. Now we're beginning to work on timing. With the system, what we do is identify certain locations on the plate. But for your DIY program, you instruct them, hit the dot with the center of the sweet spot when it's over the plate. No instructions on how to swing, how to stand, what to do with their elbow, what to do with their hips, and so on. Let them feel good about the success they're experiencing by letting that dot get over the plate and hit it with the center of the sweet spot. When your plan is player is consistently hitting that dot with the center of the sweet spot as it's coming forward over the plate. Then we change the drill a little bit and we move ourselves off to the side of the bag. We do the same thing with the cadence count, 10, 9, 8, 7. Let them know what you're doing, other than what we're going to be doing is taking it out there and letting it swing towards them. We want them at the plate the same way they would have been if they were in the game up to bat, with instructions that what we want them to do when that dot gets over the plate, to hit it with the center of the sweet spot of their bat, as if it was a ball coming in from the pitcher. As they're doing that, as we see them making the mark, we emphasize harder by telling them louder, not harder, louder, louder, louder. Every good athlete, every good trainer will tell you confidence is the key to success. Confidence can be built a little at a time. Let them get confident that they can stand and feel comfortable up to bat. Let them get the confidence that they can swing their bat harder and louder if they wanted to. Now once you feel good about the fact that your player is on the way to delivering the confidence that they need to deliver the center of their sweet spot to the ball, doesn't it make sense? Isn't it common sense that you now should have some consideration and some concern for how much power is my player delivering to that ball when the sweet spot makes contact with it? And how much of that power is being transferred to the ball? If you spectate at a 12 and under or 14 under or high school baseball or softball game, you will see an overabundance of foul balls, pop-ups, both infield and outfield, and lazy infield grounders hit. There's a reason for that. And a majority of the reason is that when the bat comes in contact with that overwhelming power from that driving force of the ball, it pushes the barrel either backwards, downwards, or upwards, negating the transfer of power from the bat to the ball. Now, doesn't common sense tell you that your player should be instructed, conditioned, and trained how to eliminate the lack of that driving force of the ball, negating their power transfer to the ball? So the next thing that we do in our system is train the player, and the next thing we're going to show you how to do for your DIY program is how to have your player develop as much bat swing power as they are physically capable of by producing tension and torsion energy. Tension and torsion energy is what provides the bat swing power for a baseball or softball player. Again, you're not familiar with it, look it up. So, lesson number 2 concentrates on showing you how to have your player develop their maximum capability of tension energy, torsion energy, and see to it that an optimum percentage of that energy is transferred to the ball. Well, the question might be in the back of your mind, wait a minute, this is all well and good, but this ball that we keep referring to that's pitched by the pitcher is moving. It's a moving object. Well, doesn't it make sense to develop the state-of-the-art bat swing execution so that there's as much bat swing power produced in that execution as that player is capable of developing? And the optimum percentage of it is then transferred to the ball because the player has the ability to see to it that the contact of the ball is within the sweet spot of their bat and the ball isn't pushing the barrel of the bat backwards, upwards, or downwards upon contact. If that doesn't make sense and you feel you'd like to explore a better, further, more in-depth explanation, get in touch with us. But that's what lesson number 2 is all about. And your common sense should be telling you that. And talking about common sense, we are of the opinion a child should not be asked to execute a physical movement their body isn't conditioned to execute. And when Leslie was studying for her master's degree in exercise physiology, she learned that the best physical conditioning program for the execution of an athletic skill is a program that includes each and every fully completed movement of the skill in the sequence the movement is executed when the skill is performed. Hitting a pitch ball is an athletic skill. It's a crazy illustration. Hitting a ball goes like this, physically. It doesn't go like this. The physical condition of your young player should be in line with the movements that are involved in the execution of the bat swing. And that's exactly what we did in designing our system. The player gets physically conditioned as they are trained to execute their bat swing. All of that or any of that makes sense to you? I'd like to close this lesson number 1 with talking about a very important issue you should understand. I'm assuming you're viewing this video because you're in a position to impact some young players' baseball or softball future. Every time a child repeatedly engages in executing a bat swing, any style bat swing, a motor skill memory of that bat swing execution is being developed. If you're not familiar with motor skill memory, please once again research it or contact us for a further explanation. Because if that bat swing motor skill memory doesn't easily adapt to the challenges of continuing improved pitching and the physical changes the player will experience as they age, it could mean the difference between the player having a successful career as a hitter or a player being a mediocre hitter with a short-lived career. Career meaning little league, high school, college, pros, whatever. We've all seen a young player who was a great hitter when playing Little League and then failed miserably against the challenges of high school pitching. And we've seen players who were great hitters against high school pitching who could not adapt to the challenges of college pitching. Both players failing to adapt to better pitching for the same reason, and that is the way they were taught to hit during their youth league years while they were young. So it really doesn't matter if you've elected to receive this free copy of lesson number 1 of our DIY program because you're only interested in your player qualifying for their high school team, or if you're interested in seeing your player become a baseball and softball player that's a great hitter. The importance of the bat swing your young player will be initially trained to execute can't be overstated. I want to thank you for the time you spent with me. There will be some graphics expressing certain offers we're providing you. Any questions, please contact us. We're concerned about each and every player's future as a softball player or a baseball player. The rewards cannot be explained clearly, defined clearly, pointed out clearly. The difference between being a great Little League player and not making a high school team is important. Because if a child doesn't participate in playing on their high school team, it's pretty sure they're not going to be playing college ball.